Welcome back to the Joust About Careers podcast. This episode features the highlights of the conversation with 2019 Van Buren graduate Johnathon Farthing, a general manager and franchise trainer at Five Guys. The highlights focus on a typical day for Johnathon, what led him to leave college, the realization he has had that teachers don't only work at schools, and much more. If you want to learn more about Johnathon's career journey, you can always watch or listen to his full interview. And if you find this podcast useful, please share it with someone else who could benefit from it. Enjoy the highlights, and I'll see you here next Monday for a brand new episode. Have a great week.
Usually my days start pretty early and go pretty late. So first in, last out. So depending, today's a Monday. It's also our payroll day. We receive truck orders. So I get here about 6 a.m. and I'll leave about 4 or 5 p.m. That's usually what my Mondays or every other Mondays will look like. So for example, today got here at 6 a.m., unlocked the doors, turned everything on, opened the door for our delivery driver, and I started putting our product away. So anything that's cold needs to go in the cooler. Anything that's dry stock needs thrown up on the shelves. As soon as that's done, I get on my phone and I start taking inventory. So I'm counting how many patties do I have, how many slices of cheese. It can be tedious, but as a business, we need to know what products we have where and making sure we're setting them in the right places. After that, being that it is Monday, I jump on the computer, start reconciling the hours, making sure everyone clocked in and they're getting paid properly, including myself. And then I send that through to get reviewed through upper management. I'm also going to go through and take all the cash, make sure everything that we earned in cash money is counted for, and I'll get that to the bank and make sure that's taken care of as well. And then simultaneously, I'm setting up the store around me. So making sure my grills are hot, my fryers are cooking, everything's ready to go for my team when they show up in the morning. That's generally how the morning will go. Once I'm finished with that, then I'll move on to helping prep. So we'll cut our potatoes, cut our green peppers, jalapenos, everything's fresh at Five Guys every day. So we're going to have to work on that. Once I'm finished with all that, hopefully by the time it's around 10:30, we should be taking a break, getting ready to open. We make a game plan for the day, and then we jump in the kitchen. About 11 to 4 o'clock is when I'll actually be on the line running the show. Sometimes being our store's a little bit slower here in Findlay. Other locations, the GM might be a little more in the background. Here we're a little bit slower, so I have the opportunity to get things done and still participate with the kitchen crew. So for example, today I'll jump in the kitchen once it's about 11 o'clock, and 11 to 4, I'll be cooking fries, making patties, talking to customers, that sort of thing. Once it's about 3:30, I'll make sure everything's taken care of and set up for the night. I'll head home, and that's my day. That's pretty much what that looks like. I started college shortly after I started my job here in 2019. Would have been the summer, I believe, August. And first semester was great. I started and I went straight for music education, music department, and something just didn't feel right. All of a sudden, my passion for music felt like a job. It felt like I had to get up and practice the piano. I had to get up and do vocal exercises, and music wasn't fun anymore. And I realized maybe I was confusing a passion with a career, and it just didn't feel fun. And it kind of took the love for music I had out of it. But I knew I still wanted to teach, and I knew I was passionate about other things. So I thought, well, I love learning Chinese. I took Chinese classes in college. Maybe I learned a little bit about Chinese education, which BGSU had offered. So I was excited to do that, which actually I was the only student at the entire university working for that, wow. Which was really funny. It wasn't very common, but I did that for a while and I enjoyed it a lot. COVID hit on my 3rd or 4th semester of college. So I finished off my 3rd semester. It would have been my 3rd. And I started working again because COVID hit. All the classes were online, and I'm very in person. I want to talk to people. I want to hear people. And I struggled a lot. it was hard to get up and open up my computer screen and, okay, I got to do assignments. I wasn't very responsible with my time. If I was at home, I could stay in bed longer. There's no professor that's going to not see me. They notice. So I was irresponsible. And at that time, I started picking up more shifts at Five Guys. So I had classes Monday through Friday, and I worked Saturday, Sunday at Five Guys. They needed more help here at Finley, and I started picking up more shifts and decided I'm not going to sign up for a fourth semester. Let's just take a breather. I needed time in my life to kind of figure out what was going on. And from that point on, my career at Five Guys kind of exploded. My advice would be don't constrict yourself to what other people expect of you. I don't know if there's a better way to say that, but I definitely did things that people expected of me. And in the moment, it felt great to fulfill the desires of other people. It's positive attention. I'm like, I must be doing something right. But then when I took the steps and actually moved forward in those processes, I just wasn't getting it. I wasn't interested. It just wasn't fitting me. So I will say I'm lucky that this worked out because it was the only decision that I had made on my own, and that worked for me. So I guess that's my advice. Really be critical. Is that something you want to do, or is it something that you're sort of being pressured to do or expected to do? You know, that was something I learned a little late. As far as regrets, I did. Right away, I felt regretful. I didn't tell anyone right away. I was embarrassed. But very shortly after, I had met my wife on my last semester, and I owe that to her, kind of self-confidence. And I told my family, and I was expecting everyone to be disappointed, and they were, hey guys, I've decided I'm not going to continue with my education. I'm going to focus on my career at Five Guys. And it was met with, that's great, we're happy for you. In fact, they were happier that I had finally made a decision on my own. Something that's super important is, and I know I mentioned taking criticism, but being really self-reflective. How can I do better? What can I do better to better the business? What can I do when I'm receiving criticism? It really, really helps mature a person. I will say I came in here straight out of high school. So while I was a little more mature for my age, I was still a high schooler that just graduated. And I grew up rather quickly. It helps, someone, the real world's tough.
Right.
And it's not your best friend. Everyone's not going to hold your hand. It's just a business. So being able to mature, I'd say a restaurant helps teach you how to handle stressful situations very, very well. It gets very busy. The expectation of the business of your performance is very high. So that helps that sort of process. One thing that we as county schools have available to us, I know at least Van Buren and local schools, is Millstream, and they have a culinary program. They do, I've heard great things about it. They do really well. And students learn a lot of culinary tricks and trades and everything under the sun. But something you can't learn until you're there is how to handle under pressure. How well do you do when there's customers standing in line, when there's managers asking for things to be done and the clock is ticking and you've got burgers sizzling and you've got fries blanching. So how to handle yourself under pressure is something that really, really benefits me. So now in very stressful situations of day-to-day life, like a stressful doctor's appointment, or you're meeting, first time I met my fiance's family, or at the time my fiance's family, and things like that, I feel like my ability to cope with stress has improved greatly because of it. I guess go back exactly what you said. A teacher doesn't have to be in a school, in the confines of the four walls of an educational building. You can still help people. It doesn't necessarily have to be a doctor or a teacher or a firefighter. I'm still helping people grow. I hire adults that need to make incomes to feed their families. I help promote people that succeed to make more money for their lives. I'm still helping people like I wanted to. I'm still training people like I wanted to. So when people look into careers, I just recommend don't look at the surface level. Really think about the options. I never, ever, if you would have told me in high school that I was going to work in the food industry, I would have laughed because I would have been disappointed. Like, great, now I'm never going to get to teach people, help people. And I would have been very wrong.
If you liked this Joust About Careers episode, you can explore previous episodes and highlights to learn about even more careers of Van Buren graduates. To be sure you don't miss upcoming episodes, please click subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform so you'll know when the next episode is released. Thank you for spending a portion of your day with us, and we hope you will continue to prepare for your future by learning just about careers.